Hi everyone, my name is Taya Hamlet, and today I will be presenting to you the impacts of social media and how it really affects your mental health, as well as how the pandemic kind of played a huge role in these mental health issues. Mostly everyone in here, I'm sure, are on social media in some capacity or whatever platform you use, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm sure a lot of people use social media because, a lot of people we know are on social media platforms or have technology and a way to kind of connect online in some way, shape, or form. It does allow us to connect worldwide and with so many different people in so many different realms and backgrounds and lifestyles, which is a great thing. It's just abusing our social media use is something that we definitely need to be a little bit more mindful of. Social media has become a big part of our society today, and it does allow us with these endless opportunities. But over the past decade, there has been a growing concern about the connection social media has on the mental health of adolescents. So again, too much social media use on these platforms can be very damaging to our minds and overall well-being. And many specialists have linked mental health disorders and anxiety in teens and young adults back to the overuse of social media. So, like I was mentioning before, I don't think many of us think about the impact that social media truly has on our mental health. So, on this slide, I have a couple statistics that I had found that honestly really shocked me. Basically, social media has increased mental health issues to about 59% within teens and young adults. Most of these people become very dependent on social media, and no matter how limited like our social media use is, we can still experience the same effects. Even though time usage will decrease, constant comparison and need for acceptance on social media likely will not. So it's really important to keep a mindful idea and maybe even understand the reasonings behind why social media does affect our mental health. So one of these reasons is that a lot of us experience FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Many of us, I'm sure, are friends with our friends on social media or have followers and things like that. And when you see your friends hanging out without you, or they're posting things without you, or even people that you may know in real life, and you're wondering why, like, oh, why wasn't I invited? Or I wish I could be invited to this. That's kind of where that FOMO kicks in, and then you kind of start to get depressed and get in your head of why you're this way, and kind of like why weren't you involved in whatever activity you might see your friends doing online, or just people in general. And that kind of brings me to also the comparison to others. I'm sure many of us, like myself, follow a lot of celebrities or popular influencers, and we start kind of comparing our lives to theirs and kind of why they're there and we're not, or maybe why their path might have been easy for them to get to and why it's not as easy for us, and kind of just comparing your overall looks, your lifestyle to theirs. And that really, that takes a huge toll on your mental health and just also your self-confidence. And I know some people can experience cyberbullying online, and it's kind of hard to escape that when you're always online checking your comments or checking your DMs, or just in general with text messaging and things like that. Especially if you're very present online. By that I mean you create content online, or you kind of open yourself up to more criticism in that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just to be mindful that if you do get that hate, you're kind of ready or already in a good mental state to kind of combat that. And then, kind of similar to the comparison to others, you start developing more expectations for yourself. So again, you're seeing these people up here and where you want to be, and so you're kind of saying to yourself, like, oh, I want to be there. Like, I need to set more goals for myself. I need to have higher expectations for yourself, instead of kind of sitting back and thinking that they're on their own path and you will get there in your own time and with your own goals, but not to kind of rush your own timing, because again, everyone is on a different track and a different route they're going to take, and everyone has different goals. And just because someone is where you want to be doesn't mean you necessarily take the same route they took to get there. So I think that's very important to kind of understand, and maybe allows you to combat that kind of effect that social media can have on your mental health. And now talking about the pandemic, which seems to be the common denominator for many problems that we have today. Since the rise of the pandemic in 2020, I mean, mental health issues have definitely increased. I mean, since you can see the depression that went up by 48%, anxiety to about 48%, and then even stress levels have increased to around 37%. I mean, the pandemic gave us all a lot of time to try new things and adapt to change. Social media is so accessible, and many people joined social media platforms in the midst of the pandemic. I actually have a few friends and a few family members that were never on social media platforms like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, and during the pandemic they decided to try it out. And I think it's just because, I mean, there was really nothing to do, and we kind of needed to connect with each other in some way. And what better way than to do it through our phones or through technology? And us as humans, we're not really meant to spend that much alone time and be so secluded from all of the outside world. So I think social media was just a way to keep us all connected, also to see what was going on in the news with the pandemic and everything like that. So yeah, just to see, I mean, about how many people here dealt with mental health issues during the pandemic, just by a show of hands. And so I think just by that information alone really shows, because me personally, I never had really dealt with mental health issues, and that's another reason why I felt like this topic was very important to me personally as well, because I had never really dealt with depression or mental health issues until the pandemic started. And obviously so many different things go on in people's lives to aid in that depression and anxiety. But with social media, I can definitely say from personal experience, it did not help with my mental health issues at all in this sense. So, I mean, social media, I mean, it was essentially the only way we could all feel connected in such a negative time as well. And so, obviously, I mean, screen time definitely has increased since COVID. It also made room for more people to negatively impact their mental health, just by looking at different platforms, social media things, videos, and just scrolling endlessly on TikTok for hours on end. I mean, with our screen time, I mean, I definitely urge you after this presentation to kind of check your screen time and see how it's increased or decreased in the last couple weeks. But since the pandemic, I mean, it's definitely aided in this increase in mental health issues for sure. So with all that being said, here are some healthy ways to use social media that I kind of have come up with, and also with some of the research I've done, and that I've seen actual results with kind of trying out these solutions. So obviously the first one is trying to limit your screen time. And by that, I mean, you can do a lot of outside activities. I mean, in order to truly combat the overuse of social media platforms, I mean, try to pick up a new hobby, like reading a book or going to the park or doing some type of activity with your friends that kind of doesn't allow you to kind of get on your phone and then try to go through social media and things like that. I mean, these hobbies definitely should not be used as a distraction, but as a way to kind of expand your mind and try to stay in a positive mindset without being heavily dependent on social media. I think that, you know, at least acknowledging the signs of when you're thinking to yourself, hey, maybe I've been on my phone for a little too long, and kind of setting that aside, just really making an effort to do that. I think another way you could kind of combat this is maybe set a timer for how long you should be on social media, or try to limit yourself to only one social media platform a week, or, you know, slowly start to adjust your lifestyle with social media not in the forefront. So I think this definitely could help. I know me personally, I find it very helpful when I kind of set my phone on do not disturb, or kind of turn off the notifications for all my social media platforms, just so I don't have that urge to you know, kind of get on social media. So I think obviously this is baby steps and baby steps to improvement, but I think, you know, if you keep practicing positive ways to use social media and kind of make an effort to really, you know, seek change, I think definitely a lot of these avenues could kind of help you do that. Obviously, if none of these work and you're still experiencing a lot of mental health issues, and just due to everything in your life, not even just social media, I definitely think going to therapy or kind of seeking professional help could also benefit this. And also maybe the professionals are able to give you a little clarity and some other different avenues that you might be able to take to really help benefit you and just your life and mental health in general. So ultimately, with social media, I feel like the negatives can definitely outweigh the positives, and the health risks involved with the overuse of social media are far more serious than the few positive outcomes. And so it's okay to kind of take a step back. And if you can't necessarily use social media in a healthy way, then you're only hurting yourself essentially. And I think, social media causes a lot of insecurity and depression, social anxiety, jealousy, poor self esteem. And I mean, in today's society, everyone uses social media as a way to connect. So it is difficult to just eliminate it completely. So it's definitely crucial to find a healthy balance that will uplift and empower you and not degrade and discourage, a person's well being. So definitely making an effort for change and really putting this in the forefront of kind of your goals for the next coming weeks, I definitely think would help combat that social media and mental health issue and how it compares and definitely aids in, bringing us down as a whole.